Hello there. Welcome to the next episode 4 of The Comic Book Veteran. And that's me. My name is Patrick, and I'm going to be here to talk to you a little bit about more vintage comic books today. Specifically, I'm going to talk about a comic book pedigree. During the last episode, I mentioned that I had gotten into my first pedigree book, which happened to be a copy of 2001 by Jack Kirby, issue number 4, that happened to come from the Winnipeg collection. Now, as I say this, I'm going to say that I'm always seeking out knowledge about the different pedigrees. I would love if somebody watched one of my videos and was able to contact me and teach me something about one of the pedigrees, or let's make connections, however we need to make that happen. So I figured that a good way to start off this particular episode is to talk about the big one that started the whole movement, I guess, or the first really great pedigree. And by that, I'm going to talk about the Edgar Church Collection. It's also known as the Mile High Collection. Not to be confused with the Mile High 2 Collection, which is a whole big story into itself. Now, the Edgar Church Collection goes from roughly 1938 through roughly 1955. Now, Mr. Church was a commercial artist, and he bought books specifically to use as reference points. He viewed it as a research tool of sorts. But one thing he did, he stored the books in the right environment and largely in the right way. Now, there's a whole big article that you can read about Chuck Rosansky's discovery of that collection. And per the article, he came across the collection and then worked out a deal, hauled books away, and then and the ones that he found were not books that would fly off of his shelves in Denver, Colorado. But when he went back the second time, as I understand it, that's when he discovered the superhero books. Those are the ones that would sell. He went to a convention, sold or put some of them out, and was able to sell them at 2 or 3 times the Overstreet price guide at that time. That was kind of unheard of. He went back and got more and went. Ultimately, the collection more than paid for itself, but you'll find that there are some of the highest graded copies of specific books over a very, very long period of time. I think the Edgar Church copy of Action 1 sold less than a year ago for quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. Now, there are lots of other books that have come out of that collection that are just absolutely remarkable. So if you get an opportunity to own or be around a Mile High book, by all means try to pick it up. Sometimes you can find deals on them, but generally they're going to be, because they're higher grade and because they're from a pedigree, they're going to command a little bit of a premium. Now, a few years ago, I was able to work with Reese's Rare Comics, so I'm going to give them a big shout out. Specifically, I've worked with Greg, but I also have communicated with Alex. There's some great guys, remarkable books. I have to admit that I'm quite jealous of quite a few of them. So they've got some fantastic books. But anyway, nevertheless, I was able to secure one of the Western books, which a lot of people don't really go for it, or go for those. But I as I've referenced before, I really enjoyed and love the history that are behind these. I was able to pick up the Edgar Church copy of Gene Autry Comics. Was it 51? I picked up a few of the other books, but of the Gene Autry series, this is the only Edgar Church book I own. But you see, it's got a photo cover, and I'll try to zoom in here. Maybe I'll do a still shot. But this is the Edgar Church copy of this book. The book is from May of 1951. The colors are really, really beautiful. Lots of detail, and the book's just a very sharp copy. And I mean, if you go and you buy a book off your local newsstand and you send it off, you might hope that it gets a 9.2. If you're really careful, you can get the 9.4s, 9.6, 9.8s. But for a book to have been around for 70 years at this point and be graded at a 9.0, I'm blown away by anything that's like that. I find it absolutely remarkable. The unfortunate thing is that I can't get into and read the books. I really like to read the books whenever I have the opportunity. I don't have the opportunity nearly as often as I would like, but that's just the way it goes. That's life. That's part of being an adult, then having wife, having kids, having a job. Some things have to go. So often I will buy books and then I will put them in the collection. I think I'm going to go back and read that later, and I just haven't been able to do that as much as I would like. So that's just how it goes. But the Edgar Church Collection is just, I think it was, I want to say it was about 15,000 books in total. Somebody can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But 1938, 1955, and when they were discovered in 1977, 1978, whenever Edgar Church's family wanted to get rid of the books. And so those books have just, the fact that they've kept their pedigree for 40 years, and been able to be traced back, I find that a remarkable feat as well. And it's the same with some of the other collections that were marked before CGC started, around 2000 or so. And I'm not sure when they established the pedigrees and started marking the books like that. But I think it's just a remarkable era in history to be able to do that. So there you go. There's a little bit, just a snippet, about the Edgar Church Collection. As always, I'm going to welcome any comments or anything that might help me expand my own knowledge. I don't feel like knowledge like this should be, kept to yourself. Share it. Let's learn. And I am a big proponent of learning and teaching, and that again is another big episode that I could do. As always, I appreciate your time. My name is Patrick, and I am the Comic Book Veteran.